Welcome to the Daily Globe. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. The South China Sea, a vital artery for global trade, is on edge. Every day, thousands of vessels navigate these waters, carrying goods, energy and resources that power economies around the world. Trillions in commerce and untapped oil and gas have made these waters a flashpoint for global powers. The region's rich fisheries and strategic location only add to its immense value, making it a prize that many nations are unwilling to concede. A new U.S. Philippines energy pact, signed in July 2024, has escalated tensions, signaling a renewed commitment to cooperation and resource development between the two allies. This move directly challenges China's sweeping territorial claims, which stretch across nearly the entire sea and overlap with the exclusive economic zones of several Southeast Asian nations. Warships and coast guards now crowd the sea, their presence a constant reminder of the fragile peace that hangs in the balance. Each maneuver is scrutinized for its potential to ignite conflict, as even the smallest miscalculation could have far-reaching consequences. The U.S. stands firmly with its oldest Asian ally, reaffirming its commitment to defend Philippine sovereignty and uphold international law. This partnership draws a clear line against China's maritime ambitions, sending a message that the status quo will not go unchallenged. China in turn sees this as a direct threat to its sovereignty and a provocation that cannot be ignored. Beijing frames these actions as a move to contain its rise, fueling nationalist sentiment and hardening its resolve. The consequences reach far beyond the region, as the South China Sea is a lifeline for global commerce and energy supplies. Any disruption here threatens global supply chains and economic stability, with ripple effects that could be felt worldwide. Philippine President Marcos Jr. vows not to yield an inch, promising to defend his nation's rights and interests at all costs. Meanwhile, China warns of serious repercussions, raising the stakes with every new statement and maneuver. Joint U.S.-Philippine military exercises have ramped up, showcasing their readiness and resolve to stand together. These drills are met by intensified Chinese patrols, as both sides seek to assert control and deter the other. Every new agreement and deployment adds fuel to the fire, making the situation ever more volatile and unpredictable. The world watches, wondering, can diplomacy prevail? Or will the region slide into open confrontation? The South China Sea stands at a crossroads, its future uncertain, as the risk of escalation looms ever larger. The stakes for global peace and security have never been higher. The South China Sea's modern crisis is rooted in a tangled history of competing claims. China's nine-dash line, first drawn in 1947, overlaps with the exclusive economic zones of the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Brunei. Beijing's island-building campaign has turned reefs into military outposts, projecting power far from its shores. In 2016, an international tribunal ruled China's claims had no legal basis, a victory for the Philippines, but one China ignored. The region is a strategic choke point. Over $3 trillion in trade passes through annually, and the seabed holds vital energy reserves. For the Philippines, with its main gas field depleting, securing new resources is urgent. The legal and physical standoff continues, fueling persistent friction. The U.S. Philippines alliance, anchored by the 1951 Mutual Defense Treaty, has been a cornerstone of regional stability for decades. This treaty is a pillar of regional security, ensuring mutual defense and cooperation. Under President Marcos Jr., Manila has pivoted back to Washington, granting U.S. forces access to more bases and revitalizing military ties that had waned in recent years. This strategic shift follows years of fluctuating relations and rising Chinese assertiveness in the region, particularly in the South China Sea. The expanded U.S. presence sends a clear message: aggression against the Philippines could trigger American intervention, reinforcing the deterrent effect. The alliance now extends beyond defense, promoting a free and open Indo-Pacific and adherence to international law, which is crucial for regional stability. Joint patrols and exercises have become routine, raising the stakes for any miscalculation and enhancing interoperability between the two forces. The U.S. is reinforcing its network of regional partnerships, making every strategic move in Manila a matter of global interest and concern. The partnership is both a powerful deterrent and a potential flashpoint, highlighting the delicate balance of power in the region. As tensions rise, The alliance's strength and its inherent risks are on full display, underscoring the importance of careful diplomacy. The world is watching closely to see how this long-standing partnership will shape the future of Asia and influence global geopolitics. Recent U.S. Philippines agreements have transformed the South China Sea dispute, shifting the balance of power and deepening economic ties between the two nations. The Civil Nuclear Pact opens the door for American investment in Philippine energy, aiming for independence and climate goals. This agreement is not just about technology transfer. It's about building a long-term partnership to modernize the Philippines' energy sector, reduce reliance on imported fuels, and create new jobs in clean energy. The July 2024 energy deal goes further, targeting joint oil and gas exploration in contested waters, directly challenging China's claims. For the first time, U.S. companies will work alongside Filipino firms in areas previously considered too risky, signaling a bold new approach to resource development in the region. President Marcos Jr. calls it essential for development. China calls it a provocation. The diplomatic fallout has been immediate, with both sides ramping up rhetoric and military patrols. In July 2025, a new trade deal lowered Philippine tariffs on U.S. goods, but imposed a steep 19% tariff on Philippine exports to America. This has sparked debate among Filipino exporters, who worry about losing access to their biggest market. President Trump frames this as rebalancing trade and strengthening alliances, but the economic cost for Manila is high. Philippine businesses now face tough choices, and some fear job losses and slower growth. These deals are part of a broader U.S. push. New trade and nuclear agreements with Japan and Malaysia signal a coalition to counter China. The region is witnessing a realignment as countries weigh the benefits of closer ties with Washington. The energy and trade pacts intertwine economic and security interests, raising the stakes for all involved. Every negotiation now carries both financial and strategic consequences. Each agreement is a calculated move in a high-stakes regional chess game, where every decision could tip the balance of power in Asia. The Philippines is betting on U.S. support for prosperity and security, hoping these deals will bring investment, jobs, and protection in uncertain times. But the risks are as great as the rewards, and the nation's future now hangs in the balance as it navigates this new era of alliances and rivalries. China's reaction to the U.S. Philippines Energy Pact was swift and hostile. Beijing condemned the agreement as a provocation, warning of serious consequences if exploration proceeds. Chinese Coast Guard and maritime militia have ramped up aggressive tactics, shadowing, blocking, and even using water cannons against Philippine vessels. These gray zone actions stop short of open conflict, but create constant tension and risk. China's message: it will not be deterred by U.S. alliances or international rulings. At sea, and in the media, Beijing frames the U.S. as a destabilizing outsider, and the Philippines as a pawn. The goal is to isolate Manila and discourage other nations from following suit. China's multi-pronged response, maritime pressure and propaganda, has sharply raised the temperature in the South China Sea. The risk of a miscalculation grows with every encounter. The standoff is now a test of resolve for all sides. For the Philippines, the Energy Pact promises new resources as its main gas field runs dry. American investment in technology could transform the nation's energy future, but China's aggressive response threatens to scare off investors and drive up insurance costs, making exploration risky and expensive. The new U.S. trade deal adds another challenge. While some tariffs drop, a 19% levy on Philippine exports to America could hurt key industries and jobs. The economic benefits of the pacts remain uncertain as long as security risks persist. For the U.S., the deals open new markets and energy frontiers, but also spark criticism at home and abroad. The economic and geopolitical interests are tightly intertwined, creating a web of competing priorities. Every gain comes with a potential cost. The Philippines faces a high-stakes gamble: prosperity or peril. The U.S. Philippines Energy Pact has transformed the region's security landscape. Joint patrols and expanded U.S. military presence serve as a powerful deterrent, but also raise the risk of accidental conflict. China's gray zone tactics, designed to provoke without triggering war, keep tensions high, and the margin for error razor thin. ASEAN nations watch warily, caught between welcoming U.S. support and fearing great power rivalry. The South China Sea's security is now a global concern, with Japan, Australia, and others increasing their naval presence. Any disruption could have immediate, worldwide economic repercussions. The region is a powder keg, and every maneuver is a potential spark. The world's eyes are fixed on the next move. Security experts warn the U.S. Philippines pact has fundamentally changed the game. Dr. Maria Santos, Asia-Pacific analyst, says the deal ties American interests directly to contested waters, removing past ambiguities. Now, an attack on a U.S.-affiliated vessel could trigger the Mutual Defense Treaty, raising the risk of escalation. The pact signals a more assertive U.S. strategy, using trade, technology, and energy deals to bind allies closer and counter China. This approach leaves little room for error. The margin for miscalculation is dangerously thin. The agreement has strengthened the alliance but made the region less stable, forcing China into a corner. National pride, resource competition, and great power rivalry now converge in the South China Sea. Navigating this new phase will require restraint and diplomatic skill, both in short supply. The risk of conflict has never been higher. The world must hope for cool heads and careful diplomacy. The U.S. Philippines pacts have exposed the fault lines of 21st century geopolitics. What began as an energy deal is now a test of international law, sovereignty, and the balance of power. The actions of Washington, Beijing, and Manila ripple across the globe, forcing nations to reconsider alliances and economic ties. For the Philippines, it's a bold gamble. For the U.S., a reaffirmation of Pacific power. For China, a defense of its claimed territory. The risk of miscalculation looms large, threatening regional stability and the global economy. The fate of the South China Sea is being decided now, in tense encounters at sea and in diplomatic halls. The world's stake in this outcome is profound. The challenge: will diplomacy and restraint prevail, or will confrontation define our future?